Little live action. I'm gonna wait for you guys to catch up. Get some people on the live stream. I'm gonna pretend that I'm just doing stuff over here. Oh, I'm so busy. Just got a lot of busy, important stuff I'm doing. I'm just looking at different places. Just so much going on here. Ooh, yeah. How you guys doing? Thank you for being here. While we're talking, I'm gonna try and get our comments going here. 23 watching already. Huh. There we go. No, that's not right. Gosh darn it. Oh, I thought I had it. I didn't. Get rid of that. X out of that bad boy. Let's go shorts. Let's go live. Wrong one again. You guys are just watching me bumble here. Just bumbling my way through. Stream 22 hours ago. Ridiculous cluster. Bear with me as we get going. Willie Nelson's kid, Lucas Nelson, his van for his band. They're playing last night, I think, in Seattle. It got ripped off, but they got it back. Willie Nelson. Willie effing Nelson's kid. I have heard Willie Nelson's kid play, and they're pretty darn good. So this is not popping up. You know what? I'm just going to go. I'm going to get back to that. I'll get back to the comments. All right. Topic number one today. We got to go here. We've got the FBI is doing a little probing action on one of our favorite mayors, Tiffany Henyard. Let's roll into this. Here we go. Thanks for being here. The FBI is doing a little probing action on the misconduct allegations against one of our favorite mayors in the United States, Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Yeah, she's the one that kind of looks like Nino Brown from New Jack City. Literally, she dressed up like that. She bars people from her meetings, all kinds of craziness. Let's jump on in here. What's going on with the FBI? Let's get into it. Here we go. All right. I'm back trying to figure out my damn comments again. Where are they? That is just not correct. The live here is not correct. What's going on? Just got the same screen. Don't know. Not there. I'm just going to keep on going. All right. Kristen, we'll start here. You know what? You know what I'm going to do? Watch a quick little video. This is a good one. I enjoy this video because it's pretty entertaining. Let's go here. Check this out. Watch this. This is kind of mind-blowing that there is an official out there like this, but you know, whatever. Here we go. Here she is.
Because y'all got false narratives out there, and y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. All the stuff that y'all did to get people to come to our community, to just diss and down our community. Shame on y'all. Because when I want to attack and take any of y'all seats, I run. I run for the seat. I don't do smear campaigns. I don't do all this mess. It's nonsense. Because at the end of the day, we still got to live in this village. Oh, well, y'all don't live in the village, but We still got to live in the village.
Well, I mean, you might be living in, I don't know, prison. The FBI keeps doing its little probe action. That could happen. That could happen. So, what is she being investigated for? Oh, it's not just, she's got this, let's watch this video. This is a really quick one as well. This one's pretty entertaining too.
We want to tell you about the Illinois Attorney General's office now ordering a charity run by Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard to stop soliciting donations. The charity called Tiffany Henyard Cares failed to register with the Attorney General's office or disclose how much money it raised and how the money is being spent. Fox 32 first raised questions
she
about
is
her
doing a
charity
little
last
slow-mo
year.
dance,
Our
as you
investigation
do.
with the Illinois Answers Project found she was using public employees and taxpayer dollars to support the charity, including a $10,000 donation from Thornton Township, where she is supervisor. The AG's office says it is evaluating further action against the charity to protect donors and enforce state laws about charitable giving.
So she's getting investigated by the FBI. She's got issues with funds that she spent. She went to Vegas. She didn't exactly own up to that. She's got all kinds of stuff going the wrong direction. I mean, yeah. Get rid of the headphones here. And let's go with here. So there's new Tristan Cotton, let's go with, there's new information indicating the FBI has launched an investigation into controversial Dalton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard. Dalton is located almost due south of Chicago. Is it like 45 minutes? Is it half an hour? I forget how far it is, but it's, suburban Chicago, right? Fox 32 has been reporting for nearly 2 years on allegations of corruption surrounding Henyard in her capacity as mayor and supervisor. She has been accused of all kinds of stuff, and she's basically just pushed it back off and said, yeah, you guys are hammering on, number one, a woman, but a black woman in power. You guys just all need to back off. We heard her little speech there. She has literally boxed out people from the community meetings. In her most recent one, she told everybody to go to the basement. She had basically some of her henchmen telling people, yeah, the meeting's down in the basement. And she held the meeting upstairs super quick with her personnel. And then before, the public could have any type of input on the meeting was overdone. I mean, that's how you do it right there. You hold a public meeting and it's not public. And you just tell, you go downstairs. It's fine. I'll see you in a second. See you in a minute. All right, guys, let's hustle through our business today, because we got to be able to record. We had a meeting, and we don't want those pesky public people. They just ruin my day. So we can't have them at the meeting. We're just going to do our own thing here. Nobody will find out. National media covers it. Guys like me cover it. Now Fox has learned from multiple sources that federal agents are interviewing witnesses as part of a possible investigation that may or may not result in charges. At some point in time, something here is going to stick. It just is. Because with as blatant as this young lady is, I think with her leadership style, when you are coming out looking like Nino Brown, do I have that? I believe I do. Yes, I do. Okay. Right here, off to the right. Okay. No. Upper right-hand corner, right there. If that doesn't look, and that is literally Nino Brown there from New Jack City, one of the greatest movies ever. Pokey, Chris Rock. I mean, that's a strong, strong movie. I don't have a problem with him, because that's a character being played by an actor, Wesley Snipes. Unfortunately, over here, yes, this is Tiffany. This is our illustrious mayor here. And that I mean, credit for style. She came in with the same colors, got the same gold chain. You got the same whole thing going on. So there's that, right? You've got that going on. Lawrence Gardner owns a U-Haul rental and trucking business in South suburban Dalton and says that he went to the FBI several months ago, frustrated that the village of Dalton would not renew his business license. Gardner said the FBI agents took his allegations seriously. Yes, very serious, very. Gardner said that he's been harassed and his business raided and shut down by Dalton police. These are the allegations that the FBI is looking into. It is allegedly, Tiffany is sending out her henchmen and using the cops in Dalton to basically hammer on people that aren't donating to her cause, to her election, to her political whatever it is. Watched another video with Tiffany, and she was basically railing on her constituents as to why there was so much graffiti and the playground looked the way that it did. It didn't look terrible, but it just looked like kind of a rough inner city urban playground, you know, something you'd see over in Seattle all day long, where those taggers just think, this is art. And it's not. It's just graffiti, and it looks horrible, and it makes a city look literally like New Jack City. So remember that crazy scene they had where everybody was kind of naked and they're running around with hair nets, and they were sorting out the crack cocaine. Nobody could wear clothes because you might hide some crack on you somewhere that Nino didn't want you to. Wild movie. And it was about, super high rises, the massive complexes in Chicago, and how the drug trade basically took off in the 80s. Some wild stuff. So Gardner, he's the guy that's saying, hey, my business is being harassed. It's being raided and shut down by Dalton police. Gardner believes it's retaliation after he refused to make a donation to a civic event sponsored by Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. You don't pay, you don't play. Your business shut down. I've read businesses are saying we're not getting our license renewal because we're not playing on the same, team as our current illustrious Tiffany Henyard Dalton Mayor. I talked to a couple of agents and I explained to them what's going on, Gardner said. I gave them all my paperwork to show them what was happening in court and what was happening in Dalton. And they told me they were investigating and they would be in touch with me. We'll get back to you. You don't need to get back to us. We'll reach out. We'll touch you. Gardner is one of the 6 people who confirmed to Fox 32 that they've been interviewed by the FBI. So initially, I wasn't going to run this story because it seemed like it was a little bit leading. Is there really an investigation going on? Well, if you've got 6 individuals that say they've been targeted and they have talked to the FBI, that's an investigation, one way or the other. Whether it's formal, whether it's informal, that's an investigation. They are poking around, right? They range from Dalton business owners to a former village employee and at least one public official. Uh-oh. What do we got going on there? We've also learned the FBI has used electronic surveillance as part of its investigation. Wow. Agents are asking questions about Henyard's alleged use of taxpayer dollars and resources, including massive spending on out-of-town trips to Las Vegas, flying first class. What is up with these politicians or district attorneys? What was it, a district attorney, an attorney general? One of the Trump cases, Fannie Willis. I'm going to take some money out of my, I got this whole box of cash at home, and sometimes I take cash out. My dad told me that it's a really good idea to have a lot of cash at home. So when you get robbed, the thieves just leave you alone and take your thousands of dollars. No, they didn't say that part. But she literally went, that whole story is just absolutely nutso. It's crazy. And I took some cash out of my campaign. I repaid a little bit of it back. And you're like, how did you not know, like this individual, Tiffany Henyard, how do you not know you're going to get busted for appropriating funds from your campaign to doing something like going to Vegas and flying first class? I mean, you're going to get hammered on it at some point in time. You have enough exposure like that. Here we are getting probed by the FBI, right? So they've also inquired about hundreds of thousands of dollars in police overtime for Henyard's personal security detail for alleged use of public employees and tax dollars for personal benefit, and the holding up of licenses to certain businesses. She is a straight up gangster. in 2024, she is a political gangsta, right? I mean, you see that any other way? I don't. It's like, all right, okay, yeah, what are you doing for your community? And she's not letting people into meetings and just this litany, and then she's berating people in town meetings. That's when they actually get to attend. Dwayne Wood has been trying to renew the business license for his restaurant for nearly a year. I've heard rumors that they say, hey, I'm on the wrong team, Wood said. Wood has not talked to the FBI, but he believes he can't get Wood's Kitchen approval, that's his restaurant, approved because he has provided catering to several Dalton trustees who are engaged in a political fight with Henyard. You got people taking sides here. You got people taking sides. This is a good old-fashioned political shenanigans, aren't they? I mean, you know, you used to hear about this kind of thing, but to have it actually going on and by a female, I don't know. I find it kind of entertaining. I don't live in Dalton, so I'm like, oh, what do I care? I live in Bellevue. I live thousands of miles away. It doesn't matter to me. But the poor people in Dalton, how do you think that's going? They did vote her in, though. This is who you wanted. And now they're like, I didn't know we were getting a female Nino Brown. I didn't know that. Well, you get what you pay for, and you've got this young lady. Will any of these charges stick? You know what I mean? I don't know. But it sure is fun following the story, isn't it? I think I've been targeted because of my affiliation with a certain group of people, Wood said. The trustees. I've cooked for the trustees. You're a bad man because you are opposing Tiffany Henyard. I mean, she looked just like Nino Brown in her outfit, in her dark outfit. She had the hat, she had the gold necklace. Gangster. It's gangsters. In a lawsuit filed by the owner of a Dalton towing company, the owner alleges that their business license has been held up because of George's Towing's refusal to support or contribute to Henyard's political campaign. In a statement, Dalton trustee Jason House reacted to the news of the FBI's involvement. The Board of Trustees and I have repeatedly questioned the mayor's office on her use of public funds. We welcome any investigation that will bring transparency on how taxpayer dollars are being spent. Our residents deserve this level of financial transparency. I love it when they use big fancy words to just say, hey, tell us what you're doing. What are you spending our money on? Don't worry about it. Yeah. First class to Vegas. I mean, it's pretty normal, right? I mean, that's how Nino Brown would roll. That's how I roll on your dime. The FBI has said it's policy for the agency not to comment on the nature, existence, or non-existence of any investigation that may be occurring. I can neither confirm nor deny the existence of the FBI probing Tiffany Henyard. Now they're doing it, right? They're doing it. She has put out such a massive, as herself, as a massive target. She might as well just say, hey, come get me. Because she had one interview, and I've rolled that tape before, where the interviewer, an old white dude, probably my age, he's like, did you go to Vegas? And she literally looks off to the side, like, who are you looking for? Who are you looking for to answer that question for you? You know, she literally, not just one of these numbers, you know, where you just move your eyes to see if there's somebody over there, like looking for your mom to give you a hint on what to say. Is my dad over there? Can I catch his eye and figure out what I should say here? Dad'll know what to say, right? She literally did one of these numbers. She looks over. I'm like, who are you looking at? Because we know you're about to lie. And then she didn't even lie. She just basically didn't answer the question. It was classic wannabe political, you know, mayor, but she doesn't have the sophistication to get past an average middle-aged dude who's asking a very basic news question. Were you in Vegas? And then she answered it by saying, well, I paid for it. Well, okay. All right. Did you fly first class? I'm not going to answer that. This interview is over. You know, it's one of those numbers. I answered your question. No, you didn't. You dodged it. She's got a lot of that type of stuff out there. And, you know, eventually it's going to backfire on her. And that is where we sit, is with this kind of backfiring. A public relations firm responded on behalf of Henyard, saying Mayor Tiffany Henyard and the Village of Dalton have not received any subpoenas and have not been contacted by the FBI or any other law enforcement agency. Yet. That would be the big kicker, right? Yet. Hasn't been reached out to, hasn't been probed for information yet. It's a coming, especially with the, what is it, CARES, the Tiffany A. Henyard CARES Foundation. I don't know if you'd say that she cares for the community much. I'd say that she cares for herself, flying first class, whooping it up in Vegas, kind of denying that any of that stuff's going on, not letting people in her community that may not have voted for her have licensing for their businesses. You know, the FBI is not going to look at that all that favorably, right? That may not go the direction that she's hoping that it will go. You know, and I think we've got we have a related video. Tristan, let's go ahead and clip this video, clip off the beginning and the end. And for the rest of you on the live stream, let's watch the video.
An investigation into controversial Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Dane Placco has been following allegations of her misspending and joins us now with an update. Dane.
Yeah, we've been reporting for nearly 2 years on allegations of corruption surrounding Henyard in her capacity as Dalton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor. And now we've learned from multiple sources that federal agents are in fact interviewing witnesses as part of a possible investigation that may or may not result in charges.
Did the FBI agents you talked to seem serious about
very serious
concerns?
Very serious. Very.
Lawrence Gardner owns a U-Haul rental and trucking business in South Suburban Dalton and says he went to the FBI several months ago, frustrated that the Village of Dalton would not renew his business license. Gardner says he's been harassed and his business raided and shut down by Dalton police. He believes because he refused to make a donation to a civic event sponsored by Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
And I talked to a couple of agents and I explained them what was going on. I gave them all my paperwork to show them what was happening in court and what was happening in Dalton. And they told me they was investigating and they would be in touch with me.
Gardner is one of 6.
You going to believe that guy? Or are you going to believe the Nino Brown female wannabe? Know what I mean?
People who confirmed to Fox 32 that they've been interviewed by the FBI, ranging from Dalton business owners to a former village employee and at least one public official. And we've learned the FBI has been using electronic surveillance as part of its investigation. Agents are asking questions about Henyard's alleged use of taxpayer dollars and resources, including massive spending on out-of-town trips, hundreds of thousands of dollars in police overtime for her personal security detail, using public employees and tax dollars for personal benefit, and holding up licenses to certain businesses like this Dalton restaurant.
I've heard rumors that say, hey, I'm on the wrong team.
Dwayne Wood has been trying to renew the business license for his restaurant for nearly a year.
Terrible.
While he has not talked to the FBI, he believes he can't get approved because he's provided catering to several Dalton trustees who are engaged in a political fight with Henyard.
I think I've been just targeted because of my affiliation with a certain group of people. You know, I had the trustees. I've cooked for the trustees.
And in a
God,
lawsuit
bad
filed
man.
by a Dalton towing company, the owner alleges their business license has been held up because, quote, George's Towing's refusal to support or contribute to Henyard's political campaign. In a statement, Dalton trustee Jason House reacted to the news of the FBI's involvement. We welcome any investigation that will bring transparency on how taxpayer dollars are being spent. Our residents deserve this level of financial transparency. We reached out to the FBI, which said it is policy for the agency not to comment on the nature, existence, or non-existence of any investigation that may be occurring. A public relations firm responded on behalf of the mayor, saying neither Henyard or the Village of Dalton have received any subpoenas or been contacted by the FBI or any other law enforcement agency. Dawn.
There you go. So what are we left to believe after this? Yeah, there's some fishies going on, right? Which we knew already, with the fact that the FBI is involved. Yeah, you might have something coming down. I would say the odds of something actually coming to fruition as far as charges, less than 50-50. I'm just spitballing. I have no idea. But you know, when I research these stories, I'm like, all right, what's the long-term chance that this is going to keep on going? That this keeps on going. And I'm like, less than 50-50, but we've got such history of these stories coming out. And she did what? What is she doing? She's talking transparency while she's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on just ridiculousness. Literally, if a gangster took over the mayor's office, this is what it would look like. You know, all right, you guys are all on my detail as far as police and security. And you know, who's after her that she needs that much security, right? Who is after her? Is this just some kind of, does she have some kind of neurological issue with, I'm much more important than I think I am, but therefore I got to have all this coverage? Or do people genuinely just not like her and they're trying to get her out of office and use of physical threats? I don't know. Because what do you need all that security for? It's hard to say, right? So this is a super interesting story. Of course, it comes out of Chicago. I mean, you've got land of Let's Go Brandon Johnson. He is literally, everything he touches right now is just turning to poop. He committed $71 million as part of a multi-agency commitment towards housing the illegals in the city of Chicago. And then he pulled out because the Black community is hammering on him. Hey, you said you were going to fund our underfunded communities, and instead you're giving all that money to the illegals that we could give a crap about. What are you doing? And then the other more recent story is, you've heard of the technology called Shot Spotter. It indicates when a gunshot goes off, it records the sound and alerts the authorities, hey, you've got a possible shooting going on. It gives police a heads up. Whether it works or not, I'm kind of like, I don't really know. I've talked to law enforcement and they're like, yeah, we've got it on our city, but sometimes it goes off after, a car backfires, that kind of thing. And we run out there and there's nothing. Sometimes it's accurate. So I would say in a city like Chicago, if you've got technology like ShotSpotter, you probably don't want to give up on it. But Let's Go Brandon Johnson, the genius that Let's Go Brandon Johnson is, he publicly cut off his subscription for the city of Chicago to the ShotSpotter technology. But then he came back and said, but we're not going to officially end that subscription. We're not going to officially end paying for that until the Democratic National Convention has exited the city of Chicago. So then you're left with, okay, so you know that it's working because you don't want to give it up. You've told the company that you're not going to deal with them anymore. But then you came back and said, you know what, on second thought, I think we'll extend our membership out at least until these important, Democrat politicians come into town and go out of town. So he doesn't know whether he is coming or going. His funding of the migrant situation, he can't work any of that out. And literally daily, he comes up with stuff that is just like, you're just left with, what? You're doing what? So is it shocking? Is it surprising that he's got, a junior Nino Brown wannabe protege, within a half an hour commute of downtown Chicago that's basically just off the rails? No, it's not shocking. But this could happen anywhere. But the fact that it's happening here, it just kind of fits right in with the storyline, right? Whether she's guilty or not, who knows? On the outskirts, from the outside, it does not look good. And when the FBI gets involved, that's when you kind of think, this might be more than, just taking some of the grocery money that was meant for that, town hall meeting and, buying some snacks for home. Little beyond that. So this will be a super interesting one. And we've had success with this topic in the past because you guys, when you got a rogue mayor, that's something we want to check in on, right? All right. So I'm going to end this segment. Thank you so much for being here and watching this segment. We're dropping 2 podcasts a day, Monday through Friday. Love to have you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will see you on the next segment. Thanks again for being here. Bye for now. All of you on the live stream, don't go away because we're going. We're keeping on going. And I am going to see, I'm going to go back to this little Mickey Mouse deal that I do over here. I'm going to go home, and then I'm going to go news for reasonable people. And I'm going to try and find the live. No, I can't find it. I got no comments. It says live, but I can't find my damn comments. Where are they? So you guys are getting the behind the scenes look. This is what happens. I sit here and press a bunch of buttons and nothing happens and I get annoyed. And yeah, this is what we're doing. This is kind of live streaming and not figuring out what is happening. So my comment section is there and we got nothing and I don't see the, I'm going to go ahead and tap out of this. Nope, we need that one still going. This is unofficial bathroom break, grocery break, whatever it is you guys want to do. That's what I'd recommend doing right now because I can't seem to find my way out of a wet paper bag. All right, there we go. I can't find the comments. All right, so I'm just going to work without the comments. You know what? We're going to move on. We are just going to move on. Here is here's Willie Nelson's kid, came to Seattle. Everything got stolen before his big show, but then they got the van back. People that are coming into Seattle in bands, you got to realize that you're in the same scenario as Portland, any of these West Coast big cities that are just run by blue people. Don't leave your gear in your van. I don't know what else to say. This is like band number 12 that's had everything ripped off because they, Willie Nelson's kid, Lucas Nelson, got the whole van ripped off. And then he got everything back. He had a few things missing, but I think you need some kind of huge announcement to anybody coming through that, hey, there's a high probability all of the equipment that you rely upon for your livelihood is going to get jacked. Are you sure you want to do the Seattle and Portland gig and wherever else kind of locally? It's just become an epidemic, right? And somebody was asking me, well, what do you think that is? And I think it's because you got a van, number one. People know vans are targets. Number two, you've got bands coming through and they're staying in hotels that are not on the affluent end of things with great security. So you got your van out in the parking lot. It's not in a secured parking garage. It is, it's a target. And that's what I think it is. It's opportunity for these crackheads, these meth heads, these fentanyl heads to steal your stuff and go out and hit their next score. That's what it is. But nobody wants to say that. They just want to say, you know what, we hope that they get back their instruments because that's the way that they make their money. And it's a shame that this is happening, but crime is everywhere. Well, not everywhere. All right. Podcast numero
Futures suggest a mixed opening.
Today.
Dow down
all right,
12.
this is a pretty
Nasdaq
good one.
down,
I'll show you guys
28 points. Mark
this is
Mahaney
what
with us
we're
today.
working with here.
Mark,
you know what?
you brought with you
like
two
that.
stocks that you like.
Yeah,
Meta
this
and
is an
Dash.
I told
Let's
you
start with
so.
Meta.
And
Because I think you've
listen,
got
I
a
told you
target
so.
price
I'm
of
giving you guys a little preview there.
$425. Make
But
your
yeah,
case, please.
massive drop to DoorDash.
Yeah, so we think
They
this
went
company
with
can
that
do
Seattle
$20 in
bumping up
earnings
the
next year.
out
So you
minimum
put a
hourly,
little over
and
20 PE
DoorDash had
multiple
to
on
jack
that, a
up their
slight premium to
fees
the
in order
market.
to cover
You get
that.
to your $400,
Huge drop in
$425 price
business.
target.
This
Look,
is an I
the
told
wheels
you
are
so
spinning well
podcast.
for
That's what we're
Meta
doing.
right now.
All
They're
right.
managing costs
Let's
extremely
get
well.
this
You've got this
going.
click-to-message
Line this
ads that
one
are doing
up.
well for the company. And then these
There we
Reels
go.
ads, these
Go
are
up
the
to the
short-form
main
video,
screen, the
TikTok-like
whole
video that you see
screen.
on Meta. Those have gone from monetizing poorly in 23 to
All
monetizing
right.
well in 24. So I just think
Put my
you've
thoughts
got a nice
together for a
setup here
brief
for
moment
kind of
here.
15%
And we'll
top-line
continue.
growth with some margin
Thanks for being
expansion,
here.
good solid 20 to 25% earnings grower. It's a high-quality asset.
425 on Meta. Okay. Those reels are kind of addictive, aren't they? And then you've got Dash. You think it's going to $120 a share. You like delivery services,
Here
don't
we
you?
go.
Yes, I do. And so I'm replacing
DoorDash
Uber.
says
I know
data
you liked,
that
Stu. I
shows
know
the
you've liked
Seattle
Uber, and I still like
payrolls,
it. But
Seattle
we had a
upped their
catalyst
minimum
path.
hourly,
This is
have
what you want
caused
to look for as a stock picker. So
unprecedented
with Uber, you had
drop
the inclusion into
in
the S&P
business.
500, and they
Who
finally
would have
reached GAAP
thought? You
operating
jack
income
up the minimum
profitability,
hourly rate,
and then they're starting to buy
and
back stock. At least
consumers
they're going to
don't
announce
like
that with
the
this upcoming
associated extra
quarter.
fees
I think that catalyst
that the
path you've
businesses
got
are
now
required to
ahead of
make
you
this go.
with
Who would have
DoorDash.
thought
I think they're
that
going to
this would
finally
happen
hit
in
GAAP operating
Seattle?
income profitability because they've
About everybody
scaled
on this
enough
podcast,
to get
right?
to that
Let's get into
point.
it. What do
And
we
then
got
probably
going
not this
on?
year, but next
Here
year
we
they'll be
go.
included in the
Let's take a
S&P
look.
500, and they'll start buying back stock. It's sort of the same value catalyst path that you had with Uber. I think you now have with Dash. They're also rolling out a lot more ad revenue, and it's just a really good service. They execute really well, as most people who watch the show have probably used DoorDash at some point or another, and they keep expanding beyond restaurant delivery. So I really like the diversification play you get with Dash.
You know what?
One other quick one.
I'll be back in 1 second. I'm going to grab Darian. Or not. He's not here. He went somewhere. He's gone. My producer's gone. So if you guys heard all that noise from another video, sorry about that. I didn't have it capped. Let's get back. Let's watch this video. And what happens is I have these other videos popped up and sometimes they autoplay. And that is what happened. So I apologize for that. Let's see here.
January was the first time that we've lost money in a very, very long time. January was the first time that we've lost money in a very, very long time since COVID.
Spice Walla prides itself on providing...
Sorry.
January was the first time that we've lost money in a very, very long time since COVID.
Spice Walla prides itself on providing authentic Indian cuisine across Seattle. But the owners say the new minimum wage law for app-based workers that adds a fee to every Seattle delivery is devastating their bottom line.
Third-party delivery vendors are about 30% of our business right now. And we've seen a 30% decline in that business. I think customers are just not willing to pay the extra $5 on each order.
The Seattle Rideshare Drivers Association says the impacts of the new law are being felt out of Seattle too.
I have some drivers who are altogether just stopped delivering in Seattle.
A DoorDash spokesperson explains customers outside Seattle could also be charged the $5 if the delivery comes from Seattle. We wanted to check this out for ourselves. Even though we are in Tukwila right now, you can see for our order, we are still being charged the $5 Seattle regulatory response fee because we ordered from a Seattle restaurant. DoorDash driver Ariana Riley claims she does not get any extra income from those deliveries.
Only if I work within Seattle city limits am I paid under the new pay law, but they're still charging customers like Snohomish and Thurston County $5.
In response, DoorDash explains that's because Seattle's wage laws only apply to work within Seattle. The company, which has been outspoken against the ordinance, goes on to say that since the law was enacted, Seattle customers have placed 30,000 fewer orders. That Seattle businesses missed out on more than $1 million in revenue, and Dashers are getting far fewer trips.
The new legislation is not working for us. It's not helping us at all.
Reporting in Tukwila, Jackie Kent, Come On News.
Now, hey, there's Jeremy Harris. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed that you bump up the prices to cover the hourly and people don't want to pay that? I talked fairly in depth about the burrito, that $18 burrito, and it was an okay burrito. It's a burrito meal. You know, you've got the refried beans, whatever option you want, and you've got the rice. It's decent, but it's not crazy. $18 burrito. And so many people hit me up. $18, you lost me at $18 burrito. That's pretty normal in Seattle. But that $18 burrito with delivery for 1.5 miles, and somebody told me, well, that delivery driver is only going to make like a couple of bucks. All right. It's my location in Seattle relative to the restaurant, it's like 1.5 miles. So when all the taxes and everything added up, it was close to a $30 burrito by the time we got all said and done, with tax, delivery, a delivery fee, some other Seattle fee, and then that was excluding tip. It was excluding tip. So this $18.99 burrito just balloons, and people are looking at this and they're going, you know what? We're not paying for that. And I'm in the same boat. I will no longer in Seattle. I will no longer do that because it's absurd. You know, it makes no sense when you can just go, you know, grab the order yourself, and it's, you know, it's much cheaper. And then you also kind of question, all right, maybe I should just be cooking instead, right? How about that? How about I just make something at home? But it's those times where you're like, I'm tired. I just want to eat. It's so much easier to just sit here on my phone, looking at the news, to read to you guys, and then have some guy drop it off at the door, you know, a little knock on the door. And then you walk there and you grab it. Ah, here's my food. Here's my $30 burrito. Let's read the article. Let's see what we got going on. DoorDash said its data shows an unprecedented drop in order volume. 30,000 orders they are down. That is not insignificantly small, right? New data from DoorDash shows a stark decline in delivery orders placed in Seattle after the city council's minimum payment law for app-based workers took effect last month. We knew that this was it's going to tank business because it's already expensive. Seattle is already expensive. So we knew this was going to happen. And now it's like, here's your sign. All right, you did that. Here's what you get. But these folks in Seattle, this wage thing is kind of a holdover from the old city council. I do not believe the new city council, this has been ongoing for quite a while. So the Seattle City Council's ordinance requires that app companies that employ gig workers, independent contractors, as independent contractors must pay the greater of a minimum per minute amount of 44 cents and a minimum per mile amount of 74 cents. So that's why the person who's only delivering to my location over in Seattle on East Lake is going to make like $1.50, right? But that's if they can get the order, because now there's so few orders and people have decided we're not going to do this anymore. Or a minimum per offer amount of $5. All right, so that's the minimum, $5. In response to the law, DoorDash attached a flat service fee of $5 per order to bring the hourly compensation for workers making deliveries to $26.40 before tips plus mileage, which is well above Seattle's minimum wage of $19.97 an hour. But that's if you can get that consistent, you know, per delivery type deal. And what we're saying is, hey, it tanked business. You know, geniuses that put this in effect. It tanked business. So now these guys are making a fraction of what they used to make before, you know, their supposed jump in hourly rate. While the company's dashers make more while making deliveries, that's come at the cost of order volume, according to DoorDash. DoorDash said that its data shows an unprecedented drop in order volume since the Seattle ordinance took effect last month. 30,000 fewer orders in the DoorDash marketplace. That is a shellacking, folks. That is one of those absolutely direct just what did you think was going to happen?
Suggest a mixed opening.
How did you think
Dow
this was
down
going to go?
12, Nasdaq down, up 28 points. Mark Mahaney with us today.
These people,
Mark,
they just have
with you
no
two stocks
clue
that you like, Meta and Dash.
You know,
let's start with Meta, because I think
raise
you've
the
got
prices,
a target price of
when you raise the cost
$425.
of
Make your case, please.
delivery of said whatever
so we
it
think
is,
this company
widget,
can do
which
$20
is
in earnings
burritos,
next
whatever
year.
it might
so you
be.
put a
When
little
you
over
raise the
20 PE
component of
multiple on
labor,
that, a slight
you're going to
premium
have
to the
to
market.
raise those
You get
costs.
to your $400,
And here's DoorDash going,
$425 price target. Look, the wheels are
this
spinning
isn't
well
working
for
out.
Meta
And
right now. They're
even
managing costs
what we're
extremely
saying
well.
here is
You've got
even
this click-to-message
outside
ads that are
of
doing
the city of
well for the
Seattle,
company.
you've
And then
got
these
somebody who's just
Reels,
outside city limits,
ads,
and they're
these
ordering
are the
from
short-form video, TikTok-like video that you see
the restaurant
on
in
Meta.
Seattle.
Those have gone from monetizing
You know,
poorly in
you're
23
going
to
to experience that
monetizing
same
well in
price
24.
increase,
So
and people are
I
going to
just
say
think
no.
you've
So
got
they're
a
getting
nice
hit
setup here for
all
kind of
over.
15%
And
top-line
I've had
growth with
multiple
some margin
conversations with
expansion, good
people in
solid
Seattle,
20,
and people have just said,
25%
"Yeah, I'm
earnings
not
grower.
ordering that anymore."
It's a
period.
high-quality
So there's
asset.
this real backlash
425
that's
on Meta,
happening.
okay.
And
those reels are kind of addictive, aren't they?
you know, so
and then you've
these
got
restaurants
Dash.
are going to be
You think
impacted,
it's going to
and these restaurants have been
$120
on
a share.
thin ice
You
since
like
the
delivery
pandemic
services, don't you?
anyway, because they had to shut down,
Yes, I do.
open.
And so I'm replacing
all right?
Uber. I know
do
you
a little
like
bit more
Stu. I
seating
know
on
you
the
like
sidewalk.
Uber, and
Oh
I still
no,
like
no,
it.
you got to put
But,
up a
you know, we had
tent
a
on the
catalyst
sidewalk.
pack.
Oh no, we
You know,
got to
this is what
close
you want to
down.
look for as a
You
stock
know,
picker.
restaurants
So
were
with
just
Uber, you had the
really
inclusion into the
hammered
S&P
on during the
500, and they finally
pandemic
reached GAAP
because of that
operating
whole
income
thing of
profitability. And then they're starting to
being
buy back
in
stock. At least
community,
they're
and
going
you
to
might
announce
have
that
somebody
with this
breathe on
upcoming
you and give
quarter.
you the
I think
flu.
that catalyst
And
path
oh, we
you've got
can't have
now
that.
ahead
And
of
I
you
remember,
with DoorDash.
maybe not
I
in
think they're
your
going to finally
community,
hit
but my
GAAP operating
community
income
here,
profitability
if you were
because they've scaled
standing,
enough
you didn't have
to get to that point.
no, if
And then
you were
probably not this
standing
year,
in the
but next year
restaurant,
they'll be
you had to
included
have a
in the
mask
S&P
on.
500.
But the minute
and
you
they'll
sat
start
down
buying
at your
back stock.
table,
It's sort of the
no
same
mask required.
value
So
catalyst path that you
Rona
had
was
with
up
Uber.
here.
I think you now
Down
have
here,
with Dash. They're
no
also
Rona.
rolling out
You're
a lot
sitting
more
down here
ad
at this
revenue,
level.
and it's
No
just a
Rona.
really good service.
It's
They
fine.
execute
It's
really
okay.
well,
It's
as
okay.
most people
It
who
was
watch the
just
show
so
probably use
absurd.
DoorDash at some point or another,
So
and they
absurd.
keep
But
expanding
don't
beyond
worry, it
restaurant
was
delivery.
based
So I
on the
really like the
data
diversification
and the
play you get
science.
with Dash.
One other quick one.
No.
You say that
Because you look at the
Google
information they give you, and
underperform.
you're like,
Give me
that's
20
just
seconds on that,
nonsense.
please.
And it was.
I prefer
That whole
Meta to
thing
Google. And
was
Google's
just
got a lot
nonsense.
of regulatory
Seattle
risk, and I
merchants are
just
now
don't sense
grappling
the
with
cost discipline.
significant decline
Investors
in
want cost
revenue
discipline. You don't
and
get that
lost
from Google.
exposure to
It's
new
one of the reasons
customers,
I'm more
DoorDash
cautious
said.
on it.
Mark Mahaney,
The company
Friday
added
morning,
it's
nothing better.
committed to working with lawmakers to find a practical solution that empowers local commerce, restores access to crucial delivery services, and helps Dashers continue to earn on their own schedules. Well, so what are you going to do? Are you going to go back and say, you know what? We got a bunch of Democrats in here, and we don't know what the F we're doing. So we're just going to repeal that hourly thing that we just put into law. That thing didn't work out. Man, did that thing tank? That was a terrible idea. You think they're going to do that? No. No, they're going to say, you know what? It's going to take some time. And, you know, they're going to find that one guy who's saying he's making more money. Oh, yeah, I'm making more money. I mean, kind of. I don't know. They paid me to say this. You're going to have to find that one guy, and that video will be out there, and everybody will be like, okay, yeah, whatever. It's so ridiculous. Gig workers on platforms like DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Instacart have similarly reported a drop-off in delivery opportunities. Meaning, people are no longer ordering from DoorDash. People are no longer ordering from Uber Eats. People are no longer ordering from Instacart. Somebody gave me the pro tip of, hey, you know what? Amazon will deliver you burritos, 3 frozen burritos, no delivery fee if you have Prime. I was like, that's a good point. Why didn't I think of that? Now then I'd have to read the instructions and put it in the microwave, put it in the whatever you got to do. You know what I mean? But yeah, of course, Amazon. But it's a funny point, right? Didn't think about Amazon having some frozen burritos. When would it get there, though? You know what I mean? That's where these, instant delivery services are kind of like, okay, but it's going to be here. And you literally, if you haven't done one of these services, they give you a window of time that it'll be there in. And oftentimes it's like half an hour. I've had my $18 burrito that's now gone to close to 30. I've had that delivered in like little over 20 minutes from the time I order it to the time it gets there, because it's only 1.5 miles away. And if they don't have a bunch of other deliveries lined up, Johnny on the spot literally takes him however long to drive there, and boom, I've got my my hot, really overpriced burrito that's good, but it's not, you know, it's not worth $30. I'll tell you that. It's not worth $30. So you've got a whole group of consumers in Seattle that are looking at what is going on, and they are saying, yeah, you know what? No, we are no longer paying those prices. Just because you want to jack up the hourly rate for your workers doesn't mean that the consumers are just going to bend over and take it and continue ordering. They're going to put a hard foot in the sand and say, no, we're not doing that. And I will do that over in Seattle as well. People will make those changes because the budget can only go so far. And if you want to try and convince me that the economy is doing great right now, convince all you want. But the vast majority of folks are saying, you know what? Inflation has really had its way with the family budget. We can't afford that. We don't want to afford that. I'm either going to make stuff at home or I'm going to go pick it up if I absolutely have to have, that restaurant order. Gary Lardizbazal, butchered that one, a courier who has worked for such platforms in Seattle, told Fox Business last week that wait times are half the day. Wait times are half the day in downtown Seattle, even when workers at Amazon and other tech companies are in the office. I don't really know what wait times are, but what I'm going to imagine is that, wait times to get an order. So what he's saying is he's only getting a couple of opportunities to deliver. That makes sense. Some of the other issues are, and I'm always reading a story on Amazon. Amazon workers they're being dictated to come back to the office 3 days a week. And if they aren't doing that, they may not get a promotion. Uh-oh. Yeah. Uh-oh. But no, what I'm trying to say here is that so many of the big companies, they're going back to at least 3 days in the office, if not more. Who was it that was going 5 days a week and their employees were just complaining? People got used to working from home. And if you can do your job effectively from home, I don't blame them for being upset. But some of the ecosystem that's rocking are all these delivery companies because, Monday and Friday here in Seattle, those are kind of the official long weekend. You're working from home on those days. And so you don't have a ton of traffic, and all of those restaurants, they're on, their business is just way, way down. And post-pandemic, I don't think you're ever going to see those numbers like you did at one time. There's reduced orders for drivers and couriers, and there's definitely reduced business for restaurants, he said. Given Seattle's high cost of living and expensive gas prices, I think are we paying like $5.69 a gallon right now? Is it that high? Nah, it might just be like I think it's in the fives. Last time I checked, I don't know. It's expensive. Maybe it's $4.69. I can't remember. It's always way more expensive than what everybody else tells me on the comments. It's like, and it's because we've got that whole ridiculous carbon tax. That's not a carbon tax, but it is. Our folks here in Seattle and Washington State. Yeah. He said the sudden decline in the number of deliveries available following the law's implementation is making it harder for couriers and drivers to make a living in the role because people aren't ordering. You drive up prices just because to make everybody happy. You make nobody happy because now the restaurants are pissed, right? Restaurants are pissed. Our business is way down. We depended upon that business as part of our profit margin. The delivery drivers are pissed. They're not getting orders. The consumers are pissed because now they got to pay more. And I read somewhere that they're expecting these numbers, the 30,000 is going to get much greater because what will happen is people who haven't recognized that, this bump, these fees that have been increased that make this kind of intolerable, you're going to have a whole bunch of people who didn't realize that was a thing. They get their order or they go online and they check it out. Maybe they're going to order, maybe they place an order, but then they eventually see the actual cost and they're like, what in the world is going on here? What are all these extra fees? And they're the ones that maybe they order one more time, but then they think about it and they think, you know what? That last time I paid XYZ and I used to pay XYZ before all of this ridiculous hourly wage stuff. I'm not going to order from them anymore. So this will have a cascading effect on consumers' patterns in Seattle. This is not a livable wage, Lard Zibalzi said, adding that the Seattle City Council should repeal the rule to help delivery workers, consumers, and businesses. It's hurting us. It's hurting the consumer. It's going to close restaurants. Please repeal it.
Meta and Dash.
Do you think anybody's listening?
Because
you think the Seattle
got a
City
target
Council
price
is?
of
I think with its new
$425.
members,
Make your
it'll
case,
have
please.
a couple of ears open.
Yeah, so we think this company can do $20 in
But you
earnings
know
next
what?
year, and so you put a little over 20
big
PE
pill to
multiple on that,
swallow.
a slight premium to the market.
We're going to have
you
to
get to your
repeal
$400,
that. We were knuckleheads. We
$425
didn't
price
really
target.
know what
Look,
we're
the
doing.
wheels are
We
spinning
have
well
such a
for
lack of
Meta
understanding
right
of
now.
basic
They're managing
economics
costs extremely
and consumer
well. You've got
finance.
this click to
And we
message
went ahead and
ads
did
that are
this, and
doing
it's going
well
to
for
be
the
the greatest
company.
thing
And then these
ever. Everybody's going to
Reels
live in a
ads,
communist
these are the
Shangri-La.
short form video, TikTok-like video that you see on
Everybody's
Meta.
upset
Those
at
have
us
gone
now.
from
But you know what?
monetizing poorly in 23 to
The folks that
monetizing
are
well in
upset,
24.
the
So
consumers,
I just think you've got a
the
nice setup here
employees,
for kind of
the businesses,
15% top line
they
growth with
all
some margin
voted
expansion,
for
good
the
solid
folks
20 to
that put this in
25%
place.
earnings grower.
So
It's a
you can
high
only
quality
be
asset.
so upset,
425 on
right?
Meta.
You can
Okay.
only be so
those
upset,
reels are
and
kind of
then
addictive,
you
aren't
gotta,
they? And
you
then you've
know,
got Dash.
you gotta
You think it's
look at
going to
yourself and go,
$120 a share? You like delivery services,
yeah,
don't you?
okay, all right, yeah, we've got to
Yes,
stop
I do.
this
And so
nonsense.
I'm replacing Uber.
And
I know you've
that's
liked
kind of where we
Stu. I know
sit,
you've
right?
liked
That's
Uber,
where
and
we
I still
sit
like it.
is,
But
hey,
we had a
if you want to make a
catalyst path.
change, make
This is
that
what you
vote
want to look
count.
for as a
And
stock
all the
picker. So
ridiculousness
with
that you
Uber,
put on
you
the
had the
Seattle City
inclusion
Council
into
over
the
the
S&P
years,
500, and they finally reached GAAP operating income profitability.
That's what you're
and then
living
they're
with.
starting
You're
to buy
living with
back
those
stock. At least
decisions.
they're going to
The Seattle
announce
City
that
Council
this
did not
upcoming
immediately
quarter.
respond
I
to a
think that
request for
catalyst
comment.
path
Are you
you've got
shocked?
now
What are they
ahead
going to
of you
say?
with DoorDash. I think they're going to finally hit
one
GAAP
really
operating
bad.
income profitability because
Sorry,
they've
guys.
scaled
Yeah,
enough
I mean,
to get
just
to that
kidding.
point.
We're hitting the
And then probably
redo.
not this year, but
We're
next year they'll be
repealing that
included in
law.
the S&P 500, and they'll start buying
They're
back
gonna
stock.
say,
It's sort of the same
take
value
time.
catalyst path
You have
that
to
you
wait
had
for
with
things
Uber.
to
I
level
think you now
out.
have with Dash.
Sometimes
They're
there's
also
a
rolling out a
sudden
lot more
drop in
ad revenue,
business,
and
and
it's just a
oftentimes
really
that'll
good
come
service.
back
They
as
execute
people
really well.
recognize
As
the
most people who watch
value
the show
that
have
this
probably
service
used
brings to
DoorDash
the
at some point or
community.
another, and
We
they
thought
keep
deep and hard
expanding beyond
about it.
restaurant
We
delivery.
didn't
So I
come
really
to
like
this
the
decision
diversification
lightly.
play you get with
Yada,
Dash.
yada,
One
yada.
other quick one.
Yeah,
You
you
say
jacked
that
up the
Google
prices. Now
will
nobody's ordering
underperform.
food, you
Give me
knuckleheads.
20 seconds on that, please.
Spokesperson for
I
Seattle's
prefer
Labor
Meta to
Standards
Google, and
Department
Google's
told
got a lot
Cardinal
of
7 in a
regulatory
report
risk, and I
last
just
week
don't sense
that
the
it's
cost
far too
discipline.
early to
Investors
make an
want cost
assessment.
discipline. You don't get
There you
that from
go.
Google.
They're the ones
It's
that
one of the
wanted
reasons I'm
this.
more cautious
Give
on it.
everybody just
Mark
a fair
Mahaney on a Friday
working
morning.
wage.
Nothing better.
Yeah, but nobody's ordering. Therefore, those businesses are going to have to shutter. Those ones that are on super tight margins that relied upon deliveries as part of their business component, they're going to have to shutter. And then, now you've got vacant real estate. You've got less taxation going on. You've got urban blight. You've got somebody getting fired. You've got a management team that has to go to another restaurant if there is another restaurant. All of that just absolute nonsense when a business shuts down. All because, hey, let's just see what happens when we jack up that hourly rate. Yeah, it should all be good. I mean, we want you guys to make money instead of letting the economy, instead of letting the free market dictate where those pricing should be. They added that it's been in effect less than a month at the time of the report, and the city will be monitoring these and other metrics going forward. The law does not require companies to increase prices for customers. No, but they're gonna, because the businesses aren't going to take on all this as their liability. This is just what happens. That is the huge disconnect between these knuckleheads who don't know how to run a business and are literally in decision-making positions for our local government. They have no clue. They just have no idea. It's like the senator down in California who was, a proponent of the $50 an hour wage. Let's bring up the federal minimum hourly wage to $50, and we'll just see how that goes. Now, some people were thinking it was just California. Maybe it was California she was talking about. Even just say California. Hey, let's just start with California. You guys jack up that minimum wage to $50 an hour, and we'll just see what happens. We'll just see what happens. I'm sure, the folks with the jobs, the entry-level jobs that are now getting paid $50 an hour, they're going to be pumped for that first paycheck. But then when they get fired shortly thereafter, because businesses cannot compete at those wage levels because the market dictates otherwise, that this is a no-go. This is a no-go in Seattle. What's going to happen? There will be some pretty big pushback. Will it be enough to make a difference and get this thing overruled and turned back? I don't think so. I think moving forward, this is what you've got. Bunch of businesses will flatten, won't be able to make it. They'll go under. There will be a brief moment of, we're really sorry about your business. We're really sorry about you losing your job. But the rest of us just kind of saw this coming from not a mile away, from like 10 miles away. Now, here's what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen to your business. It's going to drive the prices up. Then your people aren't going to have a job. And then you're even worse off than where you sit now, which is Seattle's an expensive city. It's a big city with expensive stuff. And a lot of that I blame on housing in particular is because of ridiculous policy like this, where they make it so difficult to build a home and so expensive that the only homes that are constructed in order to make a profit are the upper end homes. And so you don't have a ton of affordable housing. It's not going to happen. And that is throughout every single city that's run by, a Democrat that has this idea of, we're just going to stick it to the rich people. All right. But then that's exactly what you've got going on here. Who at the end of the day is getting hurt the most? The guy trying to make a living driving these deliveries, right? The restaurant trying to make it go. The poor consumer who is saying, no, I don't want to pay these fees. That's not worth it to me. And then the system just shuts down. And that's where you sit. Welcome to Freatle. Yeah. Socialism works for those who don't. Huh. Yeah. Wild times, but not to be unexpected. And we knew this was coming. This isn't I told you so. All right. That's it for me on this segment. Thank you so much for being here. Love to have you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. Hit the like button for this video. And I'll see you on the next segment. Thanks for being here. For the rest of you on the live stream, let's keep it going. We got to keep going. We've got one more really good segment. But let's see. Yeah, we covered that one. How about this one? Joe Rogan says Biden running for president is a ruse. Dems preparing to swap him with this person. What do you think that person is? Is it Michael Obama? Is it Michael? Is Michael going to run for president? Michelle Obama. Sorry. I just, that whole thing in my head. That whole bulge in the pants thing. Yeah. Hard to get away from that. But no, Joe Rogan says that Biden running for president is a ruse. I toggle between that and what do they have planned? Because we're getting pretty close to the election season really being here. And Biden has more and more of these mental lapses. You can just see it when he's talking. So who are the Democrats planning on running? I don't think it's Biden. So is it, and this article, and we're not going to spend much time on this. This is not the next segment, but podcast host Joe Rogan speculated that the Democratic Party is preparing to swap out President Biden with California Governor Gavin Newsom on the 2024 presidential ticket. I've talked about that before. I believe that is what's going to happen because Newsom was kind of running around. He ran interference over in China. He went over there. He's done some things that I kind of looked at and went, what's the ulterior motive there? Yeah. So Gavin Newsom, what would that look like? I don't think he is electable because I think a lot of people not in California look from outside into California and go, what an absolute train wreck. We do not want that for our country. Vote for whomever is on the other candidates roll. Whoever it is. Trump, okay, hate the guy, but let's vote for him. I think that's the situation you've got there. But knowing the cognitive decline that Biden has going on right now, what is the Democratic Party planning? Because they got to have something planned, right? This can't be their plan. They got to have something, and we'll be privy to it here soon, I think. But it isn't what we've got going on right now. There's no way that they continue running Biden the way that they're holding him out there. Because the guy literally, I mean, he's stopping mid-sentence, and you can just see the wheels are trying to turn, but that the clutch isn't engaging. He's just the engine's just revving, but it's not going anywhere because nothing's really hooked up, and he's struggling. He's on the struggle bus. He's an elderly gentleman with cognitive decline, and he's being asked to do these ridiculous tasks that he shouldn't. That's elder abuse. It's straight up elder abuse, what's going on right now with our current leader of the free world. So that's, I'm not going to read much more of that, but I thought that was an interesting one because I always want to hear what you guys are saying. If I could see my damn comments on the live stream here and see what you guys are saying, but we're not doing that today. We're just going to power through this one. Yesterday was a train wreck of a live stream. Sorry about that. For those of you that were on that live stream and you're here now, what happened is I lost the power to my computer, and then I lost all of my topics. You can kind of see some of them up here. Actually, you can't. That's okay. But let's see if I can pull it down here. So I may have 10 or a dozen topics and various things that I'm going to share with you during the podcast. And I lost every single one yesterday. And I just didn't have the energy to go back and recreate all of that during the live stream. So the live stream tanked and I let that go. And so sorry about that. So we're just trying to get through one today where we don't have massive interruptions, and that's what we'll do. All right, here is our next segment. And I'm going to do the intro. So let's do that. What do you say? Are you guys liking these live streams? I'm here in the office doing these daily. So I figured, hey, let's just live stream, and you guys want to hang out? I'm happy to hang out with you. Wish I had the comments going, but sometimes you gotta take what you get sometimes, right? All right. So this next one, I'll just do the intro and you guys can hear it. Austin police shortages leave the section. Tristan, cut. Austin, Texas police shortages in the police department left the section of the city, one of their precincts, without a single patrol officer available. This is an unsustainable path. What are we doing about it? Let's get into it. Austin, Texas, no police. Here we go. All right. There's that. Let's go here. What do I have? Yeah, let's do this. You guys aren't getting bombarded by audio here. All right, let's do this one. Messy up top. That's better. It's not a flattering look for that guy, is it? Is this a tattoo waiting to happen here? I think it is. Tattoos. Back in my day, you couldn't have a tattoo anywhere somebody saw it. You know what I mean? A tattoo on your arm, that was a no-go. You're never getting hired again. Today's day and age is like, hey, nice tattoo. You're hired. All right. Okay. Here we go. Internet. Getting buffering. Sorry about that. All right. So if you are a constituent in Austin and you find out there's zero police coverage because of some ridiculous council meeting and they jacked all the cops, how would you feel about that? How would you feel about that? probably not swell, right? Not great. What are we doing? What I was going to say there is, even though you've got a recruiting class of, 40, 70, 80, whatever, what is the net loss that you're still experiencing? Because Portland had a net loss last year, Seattle had a net loss, and that's the number you want to look at, is how many of the, current officers are retiring, doing a lateral move, going somewhere else, quitting the force altogether because you crapped on them with that whole defund the police ridiculousness. And that's the underlying thing here. Nobody wants to be a cop. Bottom line is, no, that's a totally different story. Bottom line is you need a whole bunch more cops, and those cops are not out there. Those cops are simply not there. They're not available. And you're having police departments all across the country. In the budget talks in Seattle City Council, I read a couple of days ago comments from the president and Sarah Nelson, and she's saying, hey, we keep hearing that there aren't enough cops, and we keep telling you, you got to recruit some. What are you doing about that? And there's, like Austin is saying, we don't have in the near future, or in the future at all, really, we don't have magic method for bringing a whole bunch of cops into the community. We can't recruit them because all police departments throughout the United States are shy on cops. Not, I shouldn't say every single one. Some are doing better than others, and those are typically in Republican cities where they didn't defund the police. But in Austin, where you went down that road of, all cops are bastards, that whole thing, defund the police. This is going to be the greatest communist idea ever. Socialism is great. Wait a minute, I'm being robbed. Who do I call? 911. Send out the biggest cop you've got. Wait a minute, I don't like police, but send that cop anyway. That whole just, are you coming or going? Because everybody knew the minute, reasonable people anyway, that the minute something bad happens to somebody, you're on the phone calling 911 and you're looking for a cop. You're not looking for a social worker. You're not looking for, community involvement. You need a cop, guy with the badge, gal with the badge, with the gun, come out, and hopefully fix whatever problem you've got going on. But in demonizing policing as a profession, this is what you get. You get a situation where you can only do so much rearranging of the schedule. You can only have so many shifts that you don't have enough cops for. And, those numbers are horrific. That means you're going out as a police officer the minute you get on shift, and you are going from 911 call, emergency call, priority call to the next. You're not able to do all that other stuff, work with relations with the community, follow up on this, follow up on that. Stuff that you need to do because that's kind of the whole package of policing. But instead, you're literally just going from emergency to overdose to whatever. And that's what you're doing. And that's what Austin is doing. And they got to a point where they just didn't have any cops. And so you heard the explanation. All right, yeah, we need some detectives up in here playing beat officer. And whatever other special, special units are out there, it's, all hands on deck, guys. We need some backup because we got no patrol officers today. That's literally where you sit. And I've said many, 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 many times, at some point in time in these big blue liberal run cities, you're going to have a big social event, some kind of a shooting, something that's really going to draw attention to how few cops you have. And unfortunately, for families and community members involved in those events, it's going to be too late because a whole bunch of people are going to get taken out. And we're going to be sitting on our thumbs going, yeah, we're trying to recruit some more cops up in here, but there aren't any. We don't have much in the way of moving forward. There's no cops out there to be had. And, you've only got so much bandwidth with the recruits. And that's being offset right now by officers retiring. And you can't really blame them. A section of Austin, Texas was left without a single police officer for a couple of hours Saturday. And the police union's president is blaming ongoing staffing shortages. That's the surface. That's the surface reason, right? Austin Police Association President Michael Bullock tweeted Saturday that an entire sector in East Austin, for all my Austin peeps out there, don't worry, it's going to be fine. I had conversation with a young man that knew my son Brennan, and we were kind of texting back and forth. He was on Monday was the 1-year anniversary of my son's passing. And we were kind of going over some of that. He actually has my son's name, and I think day he died tattooed on his leg. I think is that the story? I think, yeah, I've seen it. I just can't remember what it was. But we were talking about Austin, and he was saying, Austin's got some craziness going on as well. You think of it as Texas, but Austin's gone down the blue road. Yeah. Sector in East Austin went 2 hours without a patrol officer assigned to the sector. He said that the department's backfill shift, made up of detectives and specialized units, again, all hands on deck. We need everybody here because we don't have enough of the patrol officers. So get your rear end in there because we need some bodies. Don't care what your specialized unit description is. Let's go patrolling. Let's go answer those 911 calls, whatever it might be. Pulling double duty that had to provide coverage. So this notion that we can get by with policing by having people do overtime, pull double duty, pull a detective in, pull a specialized unit, that just takes police and from other positions in the community, you're cannibalizing your police force. It's not sustainable. You need more police, but you don't have the bandwidth to hire them because nobody wants to be a cop, and recruiting efforts are just not working right now. So at some point in time in one of these cities, you're going to have that aha moment where the rest of the community goes, oh, this is what you've been talking about that whole time. Huh, okay, now I see your point. These are the same people that voted for, defunding the police because they just thought it was the greatest concept ever. Yeah, we'll just take all that money and put it into community service and, the social workers, and they'll come out and, they'll swing their pen and their notebook and, they'll take care of the guy that's whacked out on meth and he's not wearing any clothes and he's carrying a knife. I'm sure that social worker versus that dude, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Staffing woes continue due to our staffing being at 2006 levels. An entire sector in East Austin went 2 hours without a patrol officer assigned to the sector today. Is that common? I mean, from the last, 4 years that I've been covering policing, I have not seen this story, but I'm sure on some levels out there, because policing levels have been so decimated, that this has probably happened, just probably not in a big city like Austin, right? Our backfill shift, made up of detectives and specialized units, pulling double duty, had to provide coverage because you didn't have enough police because they got called down to the councilman. I mean, I get it. Those people need protection, but you know what I mean? It's like, okay, who's priority here? The taxpayers or the ones that, probably voted for defund the police, the geniusness that was that. Bullock blamed these circumstances on staffing woes. Well, as a member of the policing community, and especially if you're a spokesperson, you're going to have to come up with some, well, here's the official direction we're going to go. That isn't necessarily, bare bones. This is what's causing it, but it's something that you can assuade the public with. Is we've got some staffing woes. Well, now you crapped on policing as a profession, and there's no way that we can hire enough cops. Period. That's where you sit. And so now the community is left naked as far as policing and public safety goes. And you guys are just going to have to work it out yourselves because there's no solution here. You can't bring in the garbage man to do the policeman's job, right? Yesterday, who was it? There's a group of community members. No, it was school board members, school committee members in, where were they? They were in Massachusetts. They were in a community half an hour south of Boston. And things had gotten so bad in this community in Massachusetts that they wanted the National Guard to come in and play substitute teacher at their high school because things were so wacky with crime, drugs, crime, just an out of control scene. But they petitioned their mayor. Mayor needed to kick that up to the governor and say, we need to get some National Guard in down here right now. And my thought was, National Guard, they're not teachers, but I get it. You just want the body, you want the personnel, you want the guy with the gun coming to your school to, smooth things out until things can get better. Police, you can't really step into those things. You're a trained police officer or you're not. We're not going to take, security police from the mall, security guards from the mall and, give them a badge and say, Junior, go for it. Let's just see how this goes because we're shy some cops. That's not really an option, right? You've got this whole police academy. You've got training. You've got street time out there, hopefully underneath the wing of somebody who knows what they're doing, that has some experience that they can share. You've got all that kind of stuff going on. It's a long process to bring personnel into policing. And so, communities all across the United States are suffering the exact same thing right now. And we keep coming back to, well, we can make this work just by, overtime and, bringing in people from different departments. Because that's all that we can do at this point in time. That's literally physically what Austin is doing and every other police force that is shy on cops right now, police officers right now. That's what they're doing. He said Austin Police Department staffing was at 2006 levels, but you've got 250,000 more people. All right. So you need some more cops up in there, right? When the city had 250,000 fewer residents, Austin's population is hovering just under 1 million now. Yeah. And they've got 1,400. It's like Seattle has, I think, 1,000, but only 800 or so of those are actually deployable out into the field. Bullock told Austin's Fox 7 that the situation on Saturday was not normal. Well, thank heavens, because not having a patrol officer in an area dedicated to that job, that gets a little hairy, right? Call 911. There'll be a 19-hour wait. I'm bleeding. Call the ambulance. I've been shot. As Austin Police Department would typically have anywhere from 10 to 14 officers that might be available or working that particular time. A few days prior, Bullock and Austin Police Department's downtown day shift only had 6 officers, and 4 got pulled to guard city council. That's city council. Those guys are greedy bastards, aren't they? We need the policing here. Don't want to get killed. Meanwhile, you citizens out there, excuse me, get some water. You citizens out there, fend for yourselves. It'll be fine. Yeah, so here's another tweet. Were you downtown today and needed police, but no one responded? Those are not that's like the quiet part you said out loud. Well, if that was the case, it's because we didn't have any cops available. They're all down with the counts. Oh, yeah. All right. Shouldn't have said that. So only 2 officers were available to answer 911 calls. And these are big sectors of the community, right? They divide up like here in Seattle and down in Portland, same thing. You've got the central precinct, you've got the northern precinct, you've got the eastern precinct. Sometimes you get the western precinct down in West Seattle. But their geographic area is broken up, and each one has its headquarters and has its own, kind of hierarchy within that division. And so, the downtown got nobody. They're all working with the council members. So only 2 officers are available. Bullock told Fox News Digital that the Austin Police Department is about 500 officers down from where staffing once was, and around 700 to 800 officers short of what the city's own studies have previously recommended. When you are 700 to 800 officers shy, that's when you know you've got potential for shenanigans. You've got potential for just something going wildly sideways, right? Sideways, because you don't have enough coverage. So what if you had a shooting happen downtown while this is going on? You're going to have to wait for all those cops from surrounding areas to jump on in and provide backup. And that's a lot of time that if you had, the number of police officers that you should, the 700 to 800 that you don't have now, but you should, that's a lot of shenanigans happening, right? That's a lot of opportunity for somebody who knows that there's not enough policing out there, that they can take advantage of that. And yeah, don't want to see that. But at some point in time, we're gonna see that. And the big story is going to be, what can we do about policing and increasing the numbers within our community? What can we do? That'll be the big story, right? And the rest of us have been sitting around going, we knew that one was coming. It didn't take a genius. It didn't take a real estate guy from Seattle to figure that out. He said the problem has reached a point where it's become extremely difficult for us to continue to rearrange our department to meet the needs of our community. We're starting to see more and more examples of these consequences of short staffing because it is coming to fruition where you literally don't have enough cops. And I know we've been harping on this and we've been talking about this now for years, but this is the reality. You can only hodgepodge it together and not expect some shenanigans on the other end in the form of something bad happens. And now you need those extra cops. You need that mass cop effect. What if we have another big riot? Something along those lines. Another big defund the police riot, take over a section of Seattle. What if we have that? You can only bring in so many sheriffs from out of town, right? And then those areas have been, left exposed. He traced the current state of affairs to city council voting to defend the department by unanimous vote in August of 2020. I believe that should say defund, and refusing to renew a 5-year contract with Austin Police Department in 2023. So the numbers prior to that were already heading in the wrong direction. And so this is just basically a continuation because things haven't changed. And folks are like, yeah, I think it's time for me to get out. It's time for me to move on. And you just don't have the numbers coming in to backfill, this massive, massive shortage you've got. The morale of our department is crucial. As our city leaders, it's imperative that we prioritize providing the necessary resources to support recruitment and retention efforts, Kelly said in a statement. With 79 cadets currently in the police academy, we are taking steps towards strengthening our police department for the future. Yeah, but how many are going to retire? How many are going to quit? How many are going to go work somewhere else where they didn't defund their police department, where they've got a long-term signed contract? How much of that is going to take place in the meantime? So you just hope that those big events don't take place, or if they do, they take place in a city that can handle it, that's got the appropriate numbers. And all of these big cities, there's a number that's dedicated by the FBI as to recommended numbers of policing for a community of that size. And the vast majority of these departments are way, way short. And it's because people in these communities just don't like cops. They don't like what they stand for. They don't really think they need them until they need to call 911 or until their house is getting broken into. And then it's Johnny on the spot. Take him from wherever you need to in the community. Get that damn cop down here now. That's just how this has gone. And so this whole, notion of not enough cops, we've been living with it for years, especially in a city here like Seattle. And fortunately, we haven't had the craziness happen where things have just wildly gone sideways. But why wouldn't that happen moving down the road? And it's just not safe. It's just not safe. But I can say this all day long, and it's not really going to change anything, is it? Because what's going to change? Hey, we know what the problem is. You need some more cops. It's not a doable situation. So moving forward, what do? Exactly what Austin is doing. The best that you can with what you have, and then you punt. By that, meaning whatever situation comes up, you just got to deal with it however you can and hope for the best and hope that, people's lives aren't at stake. But this is policing, so that will happen at some point in time. This is going to be one of those ones where it'd be like, I don't want to say it. I told you so, but because you will have something horrific happen. And this is what will put the magnifying glass on it. All right. That's it from this. That's it for me on this one. Thank you so much for being here. Love to have you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell, hit that like button, share the content with friends and family. That's the best way to get this out if you feel that what you're seeing here is something that, you want others to see. If not, you do you. I'm doing me. Thanks for being here. We'll catch up with you in the next one. All right, live streamers, we're still going. I don't have the messages up. Don't think. I'm going to try one more time here and see if I can get the messages to go. But I was really struggling earlier to bring them up. Just wasn't letting me do what I needed to do. All right, home. Nope, I got nothing. I got nothing. All right. So next live stream, I'll message with you. How's that? How's that? Okay. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for doing the live stream thing. I'll get this together. And this is part of what we're doing. Just doing repetition after repetition so I can get all this stuff squared away. Because when I jump in and do a live stream every now and then, even when it's out in the field, each time you kind of work through something. And right now I've just got some glitch on this iPad here that's not connecting somewhere where I can't see what you guys are talking about. So I missed out on your convo today. We'll catch it tomorrow. Thanks for being here. I'm going to end this one. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks again. Bye for now.